I want to let you know that this is your warning that this dungeon marks the end of the 6.0 story. If you are not up to this point, I would recommend clicking away from this video until you're ready to start the dungeon. For now though, let's begin. Hi, I'm the Scrub and you're here for one reason. Look, I understand that Twitter has gone to but to send the little blue bird off to start destroying the universe through the embodiment of despair was a little much. Well, here she is singing her song of oblivion. Not that the last few years have made us all feel dead inside, so I would want to get this over with, but I do need to point something out before we start. There's no point in being afraid of the inevitable. So take my hand, we'll take one more step together, and save the universe. Time to learn about the dead ends. Simplified. If you're using the duty support system, I'd recommend single pulling this dungeon. Throughout the opening part of this dungeon, there will be dark sludge puddles on the ground. You will get toxicosis, which is a dot tick for as long as you're standing in any of these puddles. Pull the opening 3 mobs and continue up the path until you reach the next pack of mobs. Watch out for the warped umbral as they can cast the move Terminal Bloom, which will put an AoE at the feet of a random player. You'll need to dodge out of this AoE or get an Asuneral paralysis debuff if you get hit by it. The warped puddings will cast a Morphic Flail, which is a point blank AoE around itself. Just dodge out of this to avoid it. When everything has been defeated, the gate to the next section will open. Pull everything around the corner and up the path to the next gate. The enemies will be the same as the previous pull with the added specters thrown in. Watch out for the spectre as it will cast Plague Fang, which will be a small conal AoE directed towards a random party member. Mitigate and avoid all of the AoEs as best you can and kill everything. When everything has been defeated, the gate will open and it's first boss time. There will be a blustery wind coming from either the north or south of the arena. You want to begin to move your character to the side of where the wind is coming from. The boss will then cast Miasmata. This is a room-wide AoE while also placing wispy clouds around the arena in a pattern. These clouds will create medium-sized AoEs underneath them. The AoEs will move across the arena in the direction that the wind is blowing. If you get hit by an AoE, you will be hit with a Volt Stack and the Asuneral debuff of Necrosis. Healers will have 12 seconds to Asuna this debuff from the affected player, as this will act like a Doom debuff. If you do not Asuna the debuff from this player before it expires, their soul will be removed from their body. There is a trick to this after you've moved your character. Either to the left or right of where you are standing, there will be a spot where there isn't a wispy cloud. You can stand on this point of the wall and be completely safe as the AoEs move away from you. The boss will then cast Cough Up. This will place 3 AoEs underneath the feet of all party members. These will be placed one at a time a few seconds apart, so you'll need to constantly move for a few seconds and avoid the Volt Stack that these give out if you get hit by them. As the third AoE goes out, everyone will get a red marker over their head with the debuff of Craving Companionship. You will need to group up either in pairs or as a party to dispel the debuff. If you do not group up with at least one other player, you will be hit with Hysteria and run around the arena uncontrollably for several seconds. When this resolves, the boss will cast Wave of Nausea, which will be an arena-wide donut AoE with the only safe spot being inside the hitbox of the boss. If you fail to make it into the safe zone in time, you get a Volt Stack and the Asuneral Doom of Necrosis. Following this, Miasmata will repeat, but this time with Wave of Nausea happening as the medium-sized AoEs are created. You'll need to get inside the hitbox of the boss from the direction where the wind is blowing while also avoiding the medium-sized AoEs. When the donut AoE goes off, you'll then need to move across to the side of the boss that doesn't have a wispy cloud so you can dodge the AoEs as they move past you. You won't have a lot of time to move, but if you locate the safe side quickly, you'll be able to drift over and avoid getting any debuffs. Pox Flail is a tank buster. Blighted Water is a stack marker. Group up to share the damage. And Befoulment will give every player a point-blank AoE. Spread out and avoid overlapping these. From here, the boss will repeat mechanics until it has been defeated. Exit out of the arena, and at the end of the path, Meteor will create a spatial distortion for you to interact with, which will take you to the next area. As you progress through the next area, there will be crosshairs on the ground that will act like medium-sized AoEs that will instantly defeat the NPCs as you progress. Pull the first group of 3 enemies to the next group at the end of the path. The Landed Freedom Fighter will cast Photon Burst, which is a small circular AoE at the feet of a random party member, and the Airborne Freedom Fighter will cast Air Blast, which is a thick straight line AoE directed towards a random party member. Just dodge away from these to avoid the damage. When everything has been defeated, the door will be destroyed, allowing you to continue. Watch out for the crosshair AoEs as you pull the next group. Continue to the next wall as more enemies are dropped off. This pull will have basically the same enemies as the previous pull. Dodge the AoEs as best you can and kill everything. When everything has been defeated, the wall will be destroyed, giving you a path to traverse over. Second boss time. The Peacekeeper will cast Decimation, which is a room-wide AoE. The first time this is cast, it will create a wall of fire around the outside of the arena. Touching this wall will give you a burn debuff for as long as you're in the wall. Electromagnetic Repellent will create a dark AoE inside the boss's hitbox. Getting hit by this will give you a Volt Stack. This AoE will linger as an electric AoE that will give you an electrocution debuff for as long as you're inside it. Small bits will spread out around the lingering AoE and point towards the outside of the arena. These will fire narrow straight lane AoEs from their position with the cast of Order to Fire. Getting hit by any of them will give you a Volt Stack. At the same time as this, everyone will be given a point blank AoE. So everyone will need to spread out and avoid overlapping these AoEs while also avoiding the straight line AoEs from the bits. When everything goes off, the lingering AoE will disappear and the bits will return to the boss. The boss will then cast No Future. This will create multiple crosshair AoEs. They will either be traveling from the middle of the arena to the outside, or from the outside into the middle of the arena. You will need to dodge into the safe zones between the AoEs as they move past. Getting hit by any of the AoEs will give you a vuln stack. You'll also need to make sure that you are spread out, as everyone will get a point blank AoE during the end of this mechanic. Following this will be the cast of Peacefire. This will create large AoEs that will begin on the north and south end of the arena while moving in a clockwise direction around the arena. This will also be accompanied by electromagnetic repellent and the order to fire bits. You'll need to make sure that you stay ahead of the AoEs as they move around the arena while also dodging the middle of the arena and the bits when they fire. If you get hit by a large AoE, you'll get a vuln stack. When the bits fire, they will retreat, the lingering AoE will dissipate, and the AoEs will stop. When the last AoE goes off, the boss will cast Eclipsing Exhaust, which will be a knockback from the middle of the arena. You'll need to position yourself to be knocked in between the AoEs on the outside of the arena, or use knockback immunity to nullify the push. If you get knocked into an AoE, you'll get a vuln stack. Elimination is a straight line cleaving tank buster, so do not stand near the tank unless you have the desire to be incinerated. Mechanics will repeat until the Peacekeeper has been defeated. Exit out of the arena and walk to the end of the path to interact with the spatial distortion to be transported to the next area. Head forward across the meadow and the bridge until you reach the small area with the butterflies. Wait here for a moment for everything to become targetable. Pick these up and continue across the next bridge to the next pack. Watch out for the Xenofauna, which will cast Revelation, which will be a small dark AoE on the ground. Getting hit by this will give you an Assunerable Burns dot tick. Kill everything and the door will open. Pick everything up in this opening area and head up the next bridge to the final pack. Group everything up and nuke it all down. The enemies are the same as the previous pool with a Xenoflora thrown in. The Xenoflora will cast Creeping Hush. This is an icy blue 120 degree medium-sized conal AoE directed towards a random party member. If you get hit by this, you'll get an Assunerable Poison dot tick. When everything has been defeated, the gate will open and it's final boss time. Warm Glow is a room-wide AoE. Pity is a tank buster. The boss will face one of the corners of the arena and cast Prance. This will create an AoE where it lands that will expand until it's pretty large. It will bounce around the arena, creating 4 AoEs one at a time. You'll need to stand away from the first few AoEs that spawn and wait for them to go off before quickly moving into where they exploded to dodge the rest of the AoEs. Getting hit by any of these will give you a hard hit and a vuln stack. Rala will then jump to the west or east side of the arena and cast Life's Breath. This is a straight line AoE through the middle of the arena. Getting hit by this will give you a vuln stack. This AoE will create butterflies where the AoE was. These butterflies will be facing different directions in pairs. You'll need to stand behind where the butterflies are facing, as they will fire narrow straight line AoEs in front of them. If you get hit by these butterflies, you will get an Unassunerable Doom debuff. The only way to dispel this doom if you get hit by this is to be healed to full health. If you have any health missing when the debuff expires, you will suddenly misplace all of your remaining health. Benevolence is a stack marker. Group up to share the damage. Loving Embrace will cause one of Rala's wings to glow. This will be a massive cleaving hit on the side of the glowing wing in the direction Rala is facing. Getting hit by this is a very hard hit and a vuln stack. After the next Prance cast, Rala will cast Still Embrace, which will give all players a point blank AoE. Spread out and avoid overlapping these. The next cast of Life's Breath will also come with a Loving Embrace half room cleave, so make sure that you dodge to the opposite side and avoid the doom from the butterflies at the same time. From here, mechanics will repeat until Rala has been defeated. Congratulations, you have completed the Dead Ends. My name is The Scrub. Thank you for watching.